Hello, our dear subscribers, the subscribers of the Global Energy Association. Let me first of all boast a bit. This is the week when the shortlist has been published, and we've set a bit of a record actually. We have, let me be accurate here, we have 233 nominations from 20 countries, as compared to 39 unique applications from 12 countries last year, so we've been growing. One of the important results is that during the nomination process, we had applications from such new countries as Qatar, South Africa, Brazil, and Saudi Arabia. Our shortlist is more traditional, if I may say so. We have mostly among the 15 people chosen by our technical experts for the assessments of the International Committee, representatives of Europe and China, but we also have the Down Under, Australia, Dr. Zhao Yang Dong, electric power industry for outstanding and sustained contribution, operation control, and cyber security of smart grid. Hello to you.
Hello. Hello.
You've been chosen among the 15 outstanding scientists from all over the world. We are now being watched by your colleagues, but also by a wider audience. So I give you 4 minutes to explain in very popular terms what your achievements, what your discovery is all about.
Sure. Well, firstly, thank you very much for the great opportunity. It's a huge honor to be shortlisted. To give a high-level quick introduction here, what I've been working in both academia and industry in power system planning, smart grid, and stability security area. So number of highlights. Number one will be when I was South Grade Chair for Smart Grid, Smart City National Demonstration Project in Australia. That was the first real demonstration project on smart grid a few years ago. So we tried the whole raft of ideas on power system, on ICT part, on cyber part, including customers as well, to say what will be the best solution for potential national rollout of smart grid technologies in Australia. So that was one of the highlights on smart grid, smart city research. In line with, in addition to this national demonstration project, we've been working on a few major initiatives. Currently, for example, I'm director for University of New South Wales Digital Grid Futures Institute, which was set up under the University 2025 strategy. We look into the energy sector. What's happening around the world is that it's been digitalized and it's been becoming dominated by renewables. So we look into the renewable, the digitalization, and not just for energy sector, but also across different disciplines, including social, economical, regulatory, legal part, make sure, and also cover the transportation sector as well, which is the second largest emission sector compared to the power industry. So that was a major drive at the university here. Also, we're working in energy storage. So we're working with a number of universities, industry partners, government research institutions on a whole range of energy storage, from chemical material to energy storage, grid connection and control. What we think is that given the renewable uptake in the power system, the immediate solution or most effective solution at this stage will be energy storage. Of course, energy storage itself will experience different stages from flow battery, lithium-ion battery, and now we're talking about hydrogen, potential hydrogen fuel cells, hydrogen storage. But how can we integrate all these solutions together to best fit the societal needs that need to be looked after for the best investment return on the new energy sector? So the last part is on power system planning and stability, which I obtained my fellow IEEE from computational methods in power system planning. That's a traditional way. No matter what technology we're looking at, the first priority for the power system is security, reliability, make sure when we need electricity, the light is on. So that's a ongoing research with myself and our research team here. I think that's a high-level summary. Thank you.
Well, Dr. Zhong, you are very well prepared. You sound as someone who has watched most of our recent videos because you've touched upon all of the subjects that we've been exploring with our gurus. But you are the first among not just the gurus of the International Committee, but of the people being shortlisted. Let me ask you a couple of questions. My first one may sound offensive, but now the challenge is that the industry shifts towards more non-network solutions such as distributed generation, energy storage, and smart grid technologies. Aren't people like you going to be unemployed shortly because you are talking about the digitalization of the grid, but the grid is becoming more and more dispersed?
Yeah, that's a very good question, being raised several times in different occasions. In my view, is that we're in the transition stage. Well, if we're only thinking about transition from traditional network to this digitalized world, maybe that's one of the concerns. However, what I see this as an opportunity to open a new era of opportunities for people across the board, from traditional power system to even to people from ICT sector, from material sector, renewable, and also you and me as end users. So in some of the research like we're doing, like peer-to-peer trading, so everyone, every household has the opportunity to be an active participant into the digitalized electricity market involving renewable energy and digitalized solutions, while still we know somewhere the network is providing the baseline support to ensure reliability. So I think this is a transition and there will be more opportunities here.
I'll leave some of the technicalities out of the brackets because it's of course for the International Awards Committee to assess your achievements, but let me use this opportunity to ask several questions which concern all of us as human beings, as taxpayers. Now, in this country where I am now, in Russia, so far, you as a person cannot participate in the free markets of electricity. Even if you produce something yourself with your solar panels or whatever, the wind, you can't sell it to the national grid, national system. This is not the case in countries like Germany and some other Western European countries. But do you really think that we are at a stage where massive electricity production is viable, is conceivable by us individuals, or we're still in the world where stable energy supply can only be guaranteed by centralized systems?
Yeah, I think it's a transition, and the market is a progressive stage. In countries like Australia, the biggest growing factor actually is a rooftop PV sector installation. That's bigger than solar farm or wind farm in the renewable energy sector. But I do agree, in countries of huge electricity network like Russia, like US, like China, the network security is very important. And the conventional integrated solution, integrated system on control, will be very effective to ensure system stability. But there are moving, even if the market is not there, but I believe there are opportunities and there are different stages. And also we look into things like if we have rooftop PV, there will be some direct or indirect economic flow, which more or less to a certain extent reflect the market ultimately could happen.
You are in Australia, which is a major exporter of coal. Do you see any future for this, for the traditional fossil energy like the coal, which is typically being considered the dirtiest, but is there a future?
At least in the foreseeable future, for example, in Australia, the coal-fired power station will be staged to phase out. I think that will be happening in many countries as well. So in addition to being fuel for coal, there are other things like in chemical, when we're talking about hydrogen, there are clean hydrogen generated by renewable energy, and there are also blue hydrogen generated by the chemical industry. involving coal or petrol or something. So I think there will be, with the technology advance, so the impact of pollution or emission from the coal will be a solution there. So coal will still play an important role.
When we apply all of this, will our electricity be cheaper or more expensive in comparison with what it is now?
Well, I think the electricity will be cheaper. Take the solar PV, for example. 20 years ago, it's very expensive, and we didn't expect so much uptake by the market. And the technology advances in the material science, and nowadays, I think the breakthrough we are looking at is energy storage. If we have a huge energy storage capacity, and also with hydrogen fuel cell technology, which has been happening, following similar exaggerated pattern like several years ago, we saw PV technology, the price is dropping and the capability performance is improving, then we'll say the price, overall electricity price will be feasible, lower for everyone.
Now let me explain something to our viewers who've been watching our broadcasts in this last 4 or 5 weeks. We've been actively talking to our gurus, and they may notice that I am in a completely different environment in comparison with where I typically am. Greetings from my parents' country house. And I should explain to our viewers and to you one very interesting thing. When they first settled here in 1992, it was an empty field. The reason why it was absolutely empty is that during the Second World War, the Nazis burned a village which there was here. So this whole new village is totally new. And just 10 years ago, I had to go up a hill nearby to catch the mobile signal to make a telephone call. And these days, we're talking on a video channel using the internet. Now, life is changing fast. But unfortunately, there are people out there who use all of the advances of technology for bad things. The digitalization of the electricity grid, at the one hand, looks something very innocent, but on the other hand, there may be cyber terrorists out there who would be using these new advanced cyber technologies concerning the electricity grid to attack. Is the electricity system becoming safer or more vulnerable given the digitalization?
Well, you exactly right. While the digitalization providing more effective solutions or different options, it also opens opportunity or risks for cyber attacks. I believe over the past few years, research and technologies on different cybersecurity protocols and solutions, even reflected in the standards, are advancing rapidly as well. Only today we were talking to a utility companies looking to what we can do on the distribution side, how we can look into find out the risks of potential cyber attacks, intentional or unintentional. Amazingly, the traditional, when we're talking about EMS or SCADA system, the technologies available to prevent cyber attacks on those parts are very advanced already. And when we did research, there are some simple things, for example, changing our password or follow stricter operational procedures will proven to be very effective, also whitelisting and so on. So I believe there are risks, however, the solutions are rapidly progressing as well. So the overall system will be, we'll maintain the system security as before. And other solutions, like you mentioned, remote village, that sort of things. When we have a microgrid solution, then it will be easier to manage in a smaller scale and to make sure it's reliable.
Yeah. People will be watching each other in microgrid systems, of course, inevitably. Now, you yourself have mentioned the energy storage, which is a major problem, of course, or a major challenge at least, because you've been improving so many different things around. But there is this cul-de-sac where you arrive and the energy storage still is at a nascent stage. Well, of course, there've been progress. There've been Nobel Prizes distributed for major achievements there. But so far, we have not solved this major thing of what do we do. Where do you think, what's on the horizon? Where do you think the hope is?
Yeah, well, I think one of the major things for energy storage is pricing. However, over the past couple of years, we saw examples. The most obvious example is the battery home-style power reserve in South Australia, that's very effective, providing emergency support, frequency stability control support in South Australia, which is very dominated by renewable energies. That's a very successful story. And also when we look into distributed level, there are already solutions which involving demand side participation, things like virtual power plant technologies, which will incorporate appropriate size of appropriate type of energy storage to support renewable and to support the network. So economically, there are already potential solutions which will make it feasible economically. And the most important thing is that the power system stability is a balance of energy. So if we have energy storage to balance out the energy flow, then we have a stable network. That price cannot be measured by dollar value in some certain sense.
Oh, thank you so much indeed for that twist of your thoughts. And in fact, I was going to say that lastly, I'm going to ask this question, but you've already asked it yourself. You live in a very rich country, Australia, but you are from the developing world, which is China, a major economy. But if you look at how people live, it's still a developing country. The same applies to Russia. I think Russia is now the economy number 6 or 7 on this planet. I may be mistaken there, but only slightly. But when you divide the GDP per capita, it is a developing country. Now, we've been so far, you and I, discussing the first world questions, asking things like, will it be cheaper, more expensive, will it be smarter, more convenient? What about the developing world? Are your discoveries applicable in places like Asia, Africa, Latin America, poorer Europe, etc.? Are we fantasizing here, or are we talking about the future for all?
Yeah, well, thanks for raising this question. I think the solution, for example, the microgrid solution involving renewable standalone power supply, combination of different reliable, low cost, but renewable dominated solutions already working in a number of developing countries. Even within Australia, we have remote areas which away from main grid, then we provide such solutions to help people effectively reduce their electricity bill. And we're talking actually with a number of neighboring countries on potential rollout of combining, for example, hydropower, solar, small battery to provide village with essential electricity supply at very affordable price and reliable, robust system. So that's happening and it's all possible.
Well, very lastly, I'm going to asking you a joking question, but it's a reality. Now, in Australia, from Australia, many of us saw a photograph widely distributed on social networks, a very funny one. A diesel generator in the middle of a Australian desert, which helps the owners of the electromobiles. Electricity-driven motor cars, which for a lot of people looks like a bit of an idiocy in action. So you want to save the planet and save the climate, so you want to use electric cars. But in order to charge them, you put a diesel generator in the middle of it. Where are we really now? Is this fashion? Or can we be talking in terms of the energy supply and energy demand being changed in a proper and smart and prudent way?
Yep. Well, certainly that's an interesting photo, which could be true many years ago. In remote area, it would be safer to have local distributed generation rather than very expensive feeders or transmission lines. But right now, what's happening is that in many of these areas, we have microgrid solutions, and actually CSIRO did study, one of the major scenario is stay off grid. So many of the farmers, remote communities, they have solar, and even wind is available, wind power, and it's possible, and many already happening in many parts, they can stay off grid and still providing the electricity from the clean energy there. And the technologies here as well, we're working on, for example, small wind turbine providing electricity supply, and also very robust on solar combining with batteries. And people's views on environmental aspect is also very advanced. So even though sometimes you have a battery there, the return on investment may not look good, but people still installing battery because it helps to support more renewable energy into this area. So it's changing rapidly and has already been changed.
Well, Dr. Dong, let me once again congratulate you on being shortlisted. Let me once again thank you for this conversation. Let me explain to our subscribers that Dr. Dong, on which I also congratulate him, has become the first of our interviewers as far as the shortlisted list is concerned. So in the next 6-7 weeks before the International Award Committee gets together here in Russia, we'll be talking to so many more colleagues of Dr. Dong. But for now, Dr. Dong, thank you and best wishes to the Down Under.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Birlov, for this great opportunity, and nice to talk to everyone. Thank you.
Lovely, thanks. Bye now.
Bye. Thank you, bye.